AITA for not wanting a relationship with my adopted parents? I, 24NB, was adopted from South Korea when I was a baby by white parents as they could not conceive. Growing up, I loved my family and would have done anything for them. But as I've gotten older, I began to question and reflect on a lot of stuff that was said to me or normalized in my family. We paid so much money for you. We always wanted an Asian kid, etc. Things like that were normalized, and I never realized how detrimental they could be. They would always talk about how expensive I was, which as a child always made me anxious. Because in my mind, if someone, bio mom, could give me up, what's stopping my adopted parents from giving me up too? Additionally, my parents always discouraged me from looking into my biological history and family. It was always out of curiosity, as my adopted siblings and a few friends of mine that were adopted looked for information about their bio families, and I was curious. My parents strongly discouraged me from doing so, even though my sister did the same thing with support from my parents. My mom would say, "You can't really find that information since it's overseas, and what good would it do? Your bio mom was a drunk." It hurt to hear those things, but I never pushed further because I didn't want to hurt my adopted parents. I've been in therapy and have talked about my personal feelings about some of this stuff. It's been brutal, but necessary. My therapist pointed out that adoption is a traumatic experience for adoptees, and my feelings are valid. That was probably the hardest part for me to accept. Eventually, I found the courage to talk to my adopted mom about my feelings. It did not go well. I have never experienced heartbreak quite like that. My best friend held me as I sobbed on my living room floor as my adopted mom told me how I wasn't traumatized because I had a good life, and, "You've never had an issue with us saying this stuff before." I was a child. I didn't know any better. You were the adult. You normalized it. I don't live with my parents. I haven't for a while. But I have heard them make comments like that even after all of this went down to my other adopted siblings. I've stopped trying to talk to them about this, as it's obvious I won't get anywhere. She never apologized for what was said. She wanted us to agree to disagree. I don't think I can really forgive her for what happened, and I don't expect her to change her mind. The narcissism and gaslighting made me feel like shit and like I did something wrong. My adopted dad backed her up too, and sent me some messages about how upset I made my adopted mom and how I should be more understanding. My youngest sibling sent me an angry message as well, telling me to apologize. I ignored them all. I just don't want contact with my adopted parents, especially my adopted mom, since she doesn't think she did anything wrong and refuses to accept my feelings. NTA, I am so sorry they emotionally manipulated you and treated you like an object. No contact is probably for the best. NTA, as someone who wants to adopt one day, this horrifies me. Every parent injures their child in some way, most of the time unintentionally. But to have the adopted child explain how they were hurt and ask for some change only for the parent to ignore it and continue using it is insane.